The next technique is called protecting fans. Now, when we're talking about fans, we're talking about the hands are moving like in a pairing motion, but it's a fanning motion, and that's where it gets its name. It's a counter for a left-right punch. Rick, we'll use Rick on here. We're going to use this angle here as 12 o'clock. Rick's going to step in with a left punch, and I'm going to parry with this hand, all right? The bottom hand is going to cut off this line of entry for a moment because I'm left open. Right from here, Rick's going to come in with a straight right, and then I'm going to do an extended outward block. Now, it's important that when you do this technique that you move straight up the circle at this point, and as the punch comes towards my face, keep punching, you redirect it, all right? You're canceling his width at this point, and you're canceling his height and depth. If he tries to punch, go ahead, Rick. It's not going to work through that. You need to pivot, though, into a left forward bow. Okay, let's take it again. Both punches now. Shoot. 1, 2. Let's do it again, a little faster. And right from there, we're going to kick and grab and poke to the eye at this point. Check the arm down, step into a right neutral bow, and execute a right inward elbow to the sternum or the solar plexus. Rake the right eye, and then as I rake the left eye, I'm going to chop the throat and scoop out at the same time. Okay, let's take it again. Go. All right, you're totally dominating your opponent on this. Now I'm going to do it slow again. Parry, parry again. I want this parry to give you an option. I'll show you what I mean. You can add this. First move. As I come up, I can also snap the elbow, which will probably raise him up on his toes. And you have another eye hook if you need it there, whatever. But those options are open to you as you move. Okay? Thank you, Rick. At this point, we're going to go into a right 45-degree cat stance to 2 o'clock. And as we move to that, we're going to drop back and bring a left inward forward and cock our right hand to the hip. As we found out in the other videos, a hand that cocks back is not necessarily not checking or doesn't have any meaning, but it can have a lot of meaning. We'll explore that after we teach this. All right, I go to my cat stance. At this point, I'm going to do a right, what we call a threading movement, finger poke right through the inward block. But it's important that when you do this, that you don't drop the arm too much when you do it. Keep it up as much as possible, execute the poke and a snap kick with the lead leg at the same time. Step over to a 45, which is approximately 4 o'clock, facing 10 o'clock, and as we do that, we're going to now do it on the left side. Right inward block, straight left finger poke, kick from a cat stance, plant in a left neutral bow. Okay, the next technique is called unfurling crane. I'm going to use the help of Kevin on this. Now we're going to take advantage of the fact that our opponent has stepped through twice. By stepping through twice, he has canceled his width on the second punch. Now I'll show you what I mean. On the first punch, we drop back, we do a right vertical outward block, we're in a right neutral bow, the left hand's checking. The next move, he steps through, and we do a right inward and a left outward. Now, as he did that punch, he threw his left arm back, and because he did that, it allows us to move in, shuffle in, and hit the groin at that point. Because he checked himself, he checked his own width on that second step through. And it's another way of analyzing what your opponent is doing, okay? Now, knowing how to read body language, what's going on. First move, next move, 2. Now these work together, all right? Let's try it again. We have 1, 2, 3, and then we claw back knuckle at this time, then we drag up to a cat stance, hit the lower part of the stomach area, then we're going to rip up, scoop the groin, chop the neck, then we're going to do a side kick to the inside of his right knee, which will turn him slightly and set him up for a thrusting hand sword at that point. Okay, let's try it again. We'll slow it down just a little bit. Come on, Kevin. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, wham, 5, and up. Scrape, scoop, and out. Okay, let's slow it down one more time now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We complement the angle of the body there. 6, rip. Chop and scoop. Kick and chop. All at once. Thank you, Kevin. Good. All right, the next technique is called destructive kneel. Now, in this technique, what we're going to do is we're going to step forward, and Rick's going to help us, but we're going to step forward as he comes through with an overhead right. We're going to start feet together, and we're going to step in, and we're going to do an upward block, but then it turns to an outward parry, and it grabs his wrist. Okay, watch again. He comes through with the punch, so we step in, and we catch it this way. Now, at this point, he put his leg in line to my knee, and so what I'm going to do is take advantage of it. I'm going to heel palm the back of the elbow, but at the same time, I'm going to go to a left reverse close kneel, and I'm going to break the elbow, but also put pressure and cause injury to the back of the knee. All right, let's try it again. So we step in, and we catch, and they work together at this point. Now, from here, I want you to let your arms travel, loop back through, back knuckle to the ribs, and as you do it, I want a heel palm claw to the face. So from here, this catches and then it rips, and you anchor your elbow as you do it. And if you look at my right knee, it's also applying pressure downwardly in sync with the claw to the face. You can see that again from where we were here. I came back and I ripped and dropped down. Now I anchor him in, and then I'm going to do a back knuckle to the spine or the kidney and a punch to the ribs with the other hand from behind. Left over right as I do that. Now, as I do it, I drop again down and bust the ankle, and as I punch, circle around, snake around, and grab his chin. I want a left knee to the spine. Keep your hand checking, and as you plant back, you you hammer fist, turn him, and then roundhouse kick to any available target. Good. Let's try it again, Rick. In fact, let's try from this angle. Come on over here. So we have one, put the pressure, two, rip, and drop again. Boom. Grab, knee, unwind, and kick. Thank you, Rick. Good. The next technique is called flashing wings. Now, flashing wings has a little minor move, it has two little minor moves actually in there that set up this technique to make it flow. They don't look like they're very strong, but what they do, you'll find pretty amazing. With the help of Rick, now what we're going to do, I'm going to start him on this side. It's for the outside of a straight right punch. We're going to start feet together, and we're going to step into a left neutral bow, straight ahead, as Rick does his punch. We're going to do an inward block. From the inward block, I want this hand now to turn to a check as you go to a forward bow, okay, and slip a right inward horizontal elbow. Now I'm bringing the check down so you can see that elbow, but in reality, that check stays right up there. Okay, let's watch again. Okay, we block him, we go to a forward bow, come through with the elbow, grab the eye, and come back with the elbow, okay? Now, as you do this, you come back, he'll come up on his toes as you arch him, because the elbow here acts as a fulcrum. The fingers in the eyes are ripping and causing the injury, but this is setting him up for the first chop to the back of the neck. This hand is here, I'm leaving it out so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, watch again. We make the block, elbow, bam, come back with it, set up the chop, the next chop occurs, and as that happens, you're also buckling the leg with the chop. Okay, now I'm gonna take you now on this side, get a better angle of what we're doing. We punch, block, come through with the elbow, rip, set up the first chop, second chop. Now at this point, this hand rolls over and checks as you go to a wide kneel and do a lifting inward hand sword with the bottom hand. It's no more than rounding the corners as you move. You notice that this second chop hits at the same time as my closed kneel hits. They both work together. Okay, now watch it again from the top. 1, 2, 3, there's 4, 5, and 6. Thank you, Rick. Good. The next technique is called gathering clouds. Now what we're going to do on this is I'm going to need the help of Rick, but we're going to do a counter for the outside of a right punch. It gets its name gathering clouds because what you're doing as he punches is that you're parrying, you're doing a left inward parry and you're stepping off to approximately 11 o'clock. And as you do this, you're doing a left inward parry and doing a right middle knuckle rake like we did in Leaping Crane. So it's a gathering type of motion, okay? You're gathering, you might say, the clouds are gathering together and anything that's caught in the center of those clouds, the storm affects the target, you might say. So gathering clouds, we're going to rake the floating rib as he comes in, bam, this way. Now, I need to turn him so you can see the next shot. As we rake the ribs, bam, this way, keep that check up. You're going to come back and chop the kidney. Then we're going to step up and buckle the knee and slip the elbow at the same time. You're going to check the arm down, you're going to hook the eye with this hand, and you're going to scoop out with the groin. You see that these two circles are working. This one feeds this, or the leg feeds the hand as you come out. All right, let's take it again on this side again. So we parry, chop, elbow, hook and scoop out. Thank you, Rick. It's not that hard. Practice it. Okay, we're moving along, getting further down the list of green. Let's go with circles of protection. Now this is two overlapping circles. Protection meaning they're referring as they're protecting your head from an overhead strike. It's going to be an overhead punch with the help of Tim. Okay, Tim's going to start in a left neutral bow. I'm going to start feet together. Okay, the first move is basically, it's a right upward block. Now I want my knee right up against that knee and I'm going to go to a left forward bow as I block for this point, okay? Now I don't want this to block by itself, but I want both hands, now one is going to block, the other one's going to block and rip the face. All right, let's watch this again. I'll show you what I mean. We move in, they work together. Now this one rolls out and collapses the arm down to his side, controlling his height. Okay, now watch again. We go one, rip, the other hand drops down and grabs the groin. Now you can use a forward bow, or if you need to get lower because of his height, then use a wide kneel. Now you rip and pull, and as he comes forward, you back knuckle, all right? Now you may have to shuffle on that next move. Let's try it again. We go 1, 2, and 3 if you want to catch up to the jaw. Let's try it slow. Good. First move. 1. All right, we have a check. Remember the universal block? Okay, right hand over left, so we have the option. You notice that my knee has a lot to do in this technique. Starts to control his depth somewhat. Rip, check, grab. Pull, shuffle, and back knuckle. And you're in a left neutral bow when you're done. Thank you, Tim. Good. The next technique is called Dance of Darkness. Now, it gets its name because we're dancing in it, so to speak, around and behind our opponent. We're going to go back to an area behind him where he can't see what we're doing, and we're going to stay there most of the time. It gets its name Dance of Darkness. Now, with the help of Tim, I'm going to have Tim come straight out from here. He's going to come out from 12 o'clock. Now, this is a counter for a right kick followed up by a right punch. He's going to start in a left neutral bow, and I'm going to start in a right neutral bow. Now, as the kick comes, I'm going to drop back into the twist stance and do a right downward block. No sooner I do that, but I'm going to come forward again, and as I come forward, I'm going to snap his elbow with an inward parry and an outward parry, but the outward parry is going to catch just under the elbow and snap it at that point as I come forward, okay? Now, by myself for a second, you can watch the stance. Step in and out. It goes back to a twist stance, a left front twist stance, and then comes back into a right neutral bow with 2 parries, okay? Now, we start to kick, and hook the eye as we step over behind him now. That's 12 o'clock, so I'm going to step just past 9 o'clock. As I hook the eye, I'm going to anchor down with this arm to keep him in place. I'm going to let this roll, and I'm going to do 2 punches. One right into underneath the shoulder blade, or the kidney. The other one can go to the opposite kidney, or they can go to this kidney as well. But I'm going to drop into a closed kneel stance. Now watch this again. We block the kick, catch the arm, hook the eye, and punch. Now, right from there, what I want to do is check this shoulder, because I don't want this arm coming around back on me. As I check it, I'm going to back knuckle with the other hand coming from here. I'm going to hook the eye again, and as I hook, I'm going to push to get more leverage out of that eye hook. And I'm going to sweep the leg with a thrusting sweep kick. And I'm going to track down my own arm and poke the eye again. I'm going to unwind, buckle his leg, and now I'm facing approximately 10 o'clock, and that's where his head's going to end up as the elbow hits and the buckle hits. Then I'm going to contour his body with what we call a retarded ball kick. Right to the head and then cross out. All right, let's try this again. We'll do a little slower. We'll go 1, 2, hook the eye, 3, hit, rip and push, and poke with the other hand. Come back in, elbow, outward elbow, and at the same time you sweep the leg, contouring the body, catching the head this way and out. Good. Thank you, Jim. The next technique is called thundering hammers. Now this technique, another old favorite in the Kempo system, is part of a family grouping. Now when we speak of family grouping in techniques, we're talking about defenses that are very similar, but the attacks are pretty much the same, but the defense changes depending upon where the other opponent's hand is at the time. Now what I'm talking about is this. With the help of Rick, he shoots a straight right punch. It's a step through. We do an inward block, and we got a lot of options. If my hand is down here in just a hanging position, normal position in the street, and after I do the inward block, I have a lot of options. I could go to the neck, I could go to the solar plexus, go to the groin, or whatever. Now, depending upon where Rick's hand is, if it's checking high, middle, or lower, is going to dictate what I do with this hand, if that's what I'm going to use, all right? Now, I may have it in my mind that after I block, that I'm going to chop him in the side of the neck with this hand, all right? But after he punches, he puts that check up, it's there. Well, obviously, I'm not going to go there, then I may go down something down here, like Dance of Death, which we did in the orange belt techniques. All right, now I'm going to give you another option of that family grouping, and we're going to go to the middle, which is called thundering hammers, okay? He comes in with the punch. We see where that left hand is. Okay, now we're going to shuffle forward, and as we shuffle, I want the knee to check this knee down here. We're going to go into a wide kneel stance and make our check. It also helps turn Rick away from me just a little bit to control the left side of his body. As that begins to check, my bottom hand, using my forearm and the reverse hammer fist, becomes my weapon. I can go to the groin area. I'm going to pick the solar plexus right now. And this is going to hit. They're going to hit together. Now watch again. We have the block, and then we have the next move. Boom! And it shuffles with the weight of my body. It hits. Both this arm and the knee both hit together. This hand cocks. Now, the next move, I'm going to roll my hand out of this and check his shoulder. And I'm going to pivot into a right closed kneel, dropping down on the back of his knee, attacking it again. But as I attack here, I'm also going to attack on the back of the kidney at the same time. In this position now, I've hit the back of his leg, the front of his leg once, and back one time. I'm going to then attack the remaining, what's left of that foot, with another closed kneel. And as I do it, my other hand's going to circle and go to the back of the neck and hammer, and I'm going to attack both at the same time. Left hand checking. Good, watch again. Hands down, we see where that hand is. Now that's something that you have to look for. That's why this is taught. When you block the outside of somebody's arm, you look to see where the rest of his hand is or the legs are. Peripherally, you have to begin to look at your opponent. You just don't deal with the strike by itself. If I'm on the street, the indication's obvious, he's going to start punching. Then I start looking at everything about Rick, peripherally. He moves, I see where that hand is, I drop, I make my moves. I roll the check, I roll the check again, and then I'm attacking what? The leg and the neck. Now it's important because too many people spend too much time thinking about just the arms and without working on the legs. But you're in purple belt material now. You've got to start thinking multidimensional and multi-level striking. Thank you, Rick. The next technique is called unwinding pendulum. And we're going to use a downward block, but we're going to go into a twist stance as we use it. Then we're going to unwind from that twist stance, and that's where it gets its name. All right, with the help of Tim. Tim's going to come from this angle with a right kick and then a right punch. We're going to start in a right neutral bow as he comes. Use a downward block as we do a rear crossover. We're going to unwind as the punch comes with a left inward block. Okay, watch again. Let's show you what I'm doing here. We go 1, 2. Then we're going to sweep his far leg with a right thrusting sweep kick. And then we're going to grab the groin as I plant with a claw, or what we call the monkey hand. You can use either one. Now we hit. Then we're going to unwind from here, do a right reverse bow buckle. And then that's going to keep his base elongated, keep him busy and occupied while we come back and we buckle the opposite leg with another buckle. And we're going to elbow at the same time. Now the elbow's going to hit, and this hand's going to hit the heel, rather heel palm's going to hit the kidney at the same time. I'm going to cross out towards you, and I'm going to do what's called a cobra strike. All it is a horizontal crane strike from this position to the side of the head. And you can see it again as I move from here. This hand checks the shoulder at this point. Let's try from this angle. All right, so we have a right kick, right block, sweep, grab, buckle, take it out, and catch this way, and you may lose him on that shot. Now, I want to explain something to you about these buckles. They're not there for show. They're there for a number of reasons. While you are manipulating your opponent, they are controlling his height, his width, his depth. When a person is falling, they're more occupied in their mind and they're concerned with the fall, not so much about fighting back at that moment. Also, when we're doing this technique and you buckle the back of his leg, it throws his head right into the action. It's very important. This move increases the power of your move only because it whips his head and his whole body into the action. Remember that. They're not there for show. They're there for a reason. It takes a little more of the adapt to be able to do this, but nonetheless, I want you to practice it. I'm showing you how it works. Be careful with it. The next technique is called reversing circles. Now with the help of Rick, this is a counter for a left roundhouse kick. Now he's in a right neutral bow, I'm in a left neutral bow. It's more of a freestyling type of technique. Now he's going to give me a left roundhouse kick, but he's going to follow it up with a left jab to the face. Okay, we're going to block the kick first with a universal block. And then as the punch comes, as he plants, we're going to do a right upward parry, go into a forward bow, and go after the ribs with a left straight heel palm thrust. All right, let's watch this again. First we use the universal block, then the parry, and the heel palm. Now I want you to track up his arm, grab his wrist with your left hand, and I want the hammer fist at this point to go to the right rib cage, all right? Now from here, I want you to do a right front crossover away from Rick. I want you to circle around, break the elbow as you cross. All right, from the break, I want you to do a right side kick to the inside of his thigh at this point. Rear crossover before you put it down, make a wrist grab change at this point, flip him over onto his back. And then right from there, so you can see what I'm doing, we're going to do a left looping overhead roundhouse kick, and I'll move back just a little bit to the face at that point. Good, let's try it again, Rick. In fact, we'll take it from this angle over here so they can see the last move. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, break, kick, flip them over, and make your kick. Now, what I want you to try and do, come on up, Rick, is time your first two moves so that they go ahead, Rick, 1, 2, and use his incoming momentum to help assist the heel palm. Let's try it again. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if you want to drop a knee in, it's another option, another way to do it. Okay, thank you, Rick. The next technique is called snaking talon. Now with the help of Rick, this is a counter against a two-handed push. Now as Rick pushes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back to a right neutral bow, and I'm going to get him to commit his weight as I step back. And it's going to extend the push so that's to my advantage now. All right, now as he's doing that, we're going to snake, it gets its name snaking talon. We're going to take the right hand and we're going to come across the right arm and we're going to figure eight and come around and grab, it gets its name talon, like grabbing talons, snaking talons, grabbing talons, whatever. But that's where it gets its name from. Now this is a figure eight, but I don't want you to do it this way because you're going to leave yourself open, and if he keeps pushing, it's going to check your depth and you'll never be able to finish the technique. So what you've got to do, this is like an inward block. As you push, this one drops in and anchors the elbow, all right, on this figure eight, so that you're closing. If I make a figure eight with my circle, with my finger rather, there's big holes in there, big gaps. What I want you to do is close those gaps off by not leaving your elbow up, but by anchoring the elbow, so that when you do a figure eight, it's closed circles, all right? Now watch again. As he comes in and pushes, this hand comes around and parries and check. I want the left hand to check as you're doing this, and then as you cross the arms and you grab his wrist, you're going to break his elbow with the left hand. Now as you break, you're going to go into a right 45-degree cat stance. All right, at the same time that you go to that cat stance, I want a right thrust kick. Okay, now watch how this works again. Okay, we get pushed, parry, good. All right, now watch again. Push, circle it, grab and pull. Then I want you to cross over. If he's 12 o'clock, I want you to cross to 9 o'clock. If you hit him hard enough with the thrust kick, his hands are going to go down where it hurts. He's going to try and protect himself. From the twist stance, I want you to unwind and use the momentum from that twist as you unwind to deliver a rear chicken kick. I want you to look over your right shoulder, do a left, which may or may not hit him, but it will give you the momentum for the second part of the kick. And do a rear chicken kick and cross back out from that position. All right, now watch again. Come on up, Rick. On this push, like I said, make sure that this hand is checking over here. And it helps guide you into the wrist grab. Watch again. He shoves, it sets it up, we pull him into the thrust kick. Unwind, give the rear chicken, and cross out. Thank you, Rick. Good. The next technique is called circling fans. Now with the help of Tim, we're going to use two inward-downward parries on this because we're dealing with two step-through punches. And we're going to take advantage of, on that last step-through punch, he's going to leave his right leg forward. Now he's going to start with his right leg forward. He's going to step through into a left neutral, and I'm going to parry with a downward parry as he comes through. Now, from that position, as he punches again and steps through, I'm going to go to a cat stance. 45-degree cat stance, and I'm going to parry again. All right, let's do it again. You can step through a little deeper on the second one. We go 1, 2, and we're going to kick to the groin. Then we're going to do a right vertical back knuckle to the chin, and then I'm going to do a front crossover. I'm going to check the arms down there, and as I cross in, I'm going to punch. Now, whenever you do a front crossover, you multiply the dimension of your technique. That means that from here now, I can start deviating and using my legs and my knees in close. I can switch over and take this angle and hit the inside of his thigh. All right, without crossing in, if I shuffle up and punch, I can't reach or use that knee. The moment I cross in, I have this advantage, this advantage. Like I said, it multiplies the dimension of your technique. All right, let's take it again from the beginning. So we have 1, 2, then the punch. Okay, now I want you to watch how the punch comes in. Watch my right hand. You see how it doesn't stop, but it keeps circling? Even though I'm kicking, it's on its own orbit. Now we move in, we go 1, 2, and punch. Then I cross over and punch again, knee, and then a forearm lift. Now that forearm comes under, you're going to see it from this angle over here. We crossed over and we punched, right? The knee, since he left it out there, we're going to cut across here, go to 11 o'clock. It's going to bring his head down as we move, and then I'm going to contour the angle here, and we're going to come underneath and use the forearm as a method of hitting, okay? it's a sudden, just suddenly straighten out. Rather than actually hitting here, we're going to use this part of the arm. At that point, I want you to cross out, cross back in, and execute a rear kick, and back out again. All right, let's take it again from this angle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, and back in. All right, the next technique is called defensive cross. Now we're going to use open end triangle, and this is going to be a defensive move because we're going to block a kick and we're going to pull it in. And we're going to redirect a kick. All right, Tim's going to help us out. He's going to start from a left neutral bow. Now what I want you to do is I want you to step back as the kick's coming in, and you're going to go back to 6 o'clock, and you're going to go back to a left forward bow. Now as the kick comes, we're going to catch it, and we're going to wedge it right in here. But as we do, we're going to pull it off to your left and redirect it. The reason we're going to do this is it will control his height, it'll control the width and the depth at that point. As we pick it up and pull, it also pulls the targets in. The first one being the mastoid, or rather the temple. The second one rolls over and we have a heel palm to the mastoid at this time. Okay, now from here, the right hand cocks back. We're going to kick to the groin, and as I plant back, I'm going to use the momentum of the kick planting back to sandwich the head and do a lifting back knuckle at this. Okay, right from here, I'm going to go to a cat and kick the lower part of the stomach, keep him bent down, and then I'm going to do a right outward crescent kick. That's going to set the head up for the kick, a roundhouse kick. Now that's going to bounce off the ground. That means that when this kick hits, it bounces right back into the target at that point. Okay, let's try it again. We have the block, the heel palm, lower kick, up and back. Good, thank you, Tim. Good. I want you to watch me do this by myself. I drop back, I pick up the kick, I pull it off to the left, back knuckle. Heel palm, let this hand dangle down, kick to the groin, back knuckle sandwich, cat stance, lower stomach, crescent kick, and then roundhouse kick at that point, and back to your neutral stance. Okay, the next technique is called bowing to Buddha. Now this is a situation where you're down on one knee, you're in a vulnerable situation. You could be down tying your shoes or whatever. You could be down at the beach, but what your opponent's trying to do is kick you in the face with a roundhouse kick. All right, with the help of Rick, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down onto my left knee. My opponent's going to come in, he's going to step through with a right roundhouse kick. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and block with my left hand at his ankle, but I want my right hand, and I'm going to use the forearm to make my block, but this block is going to guide right along his leg, and we're going to borrow force with it. And I'm going to do it from this angle so you can see what I'm talking about. As I block, I step. All right, and I'm going to do a step drag on the ground this way. Okay, let's do it again. So I block, I step drag, and elbow. I come right up his leg into the groin with the elbow. I'm going to do a right upward elbow. But it's a circular motion, and we're going up this side of the circle. It's the shortest route to the target. So we're borrowing the force from the leg. All right, let's try it again. We'll back up a little bit. Come on a little closer to me. So he does his kick, we step drag, catch the groin. Now I'm going to grab with my bottom hand, pull out, and hammer fist the groin. I'm going to track up the front of the face of his body with a heel palm. Now as I do this, I'm going to stand up, feet together, grab his left knee, and then I'm going to push and pull at the same time as I step back to a left forward bow. I re-grab with the left hand on the heel, right hand on top of the foot, break the ankle and flip him over. Watch that bottom foot, cross over, step out, using my own leg as a fulcrum, going back to a reverse bow, breaking his knee over my leg in this fashion, hooking the leg out of the way, trading places, and stomping the groin at that point with my heel and cross out. Good, let's try it again, Rick. We'll take it from this angle now. We're down. We borrow his force here. We step drag, hit, grab, up, wham, and back. Flip the leg over, rear crossover, bust it, hook it out of the way, stomp and out. Thank you, Rick. Good. Okay, we're moving along. All right, now let's go to Prance of the Tiger. Now this is a counter for a right uppercut punch to your rib cage. Now this could be done from the ground or it can be done from standing up. Okay, with the help of Rick. Okay, now Rick's going to come from this angle over here, and I'm going to move him over just a little bit, Rick, and I'm going to expose my ribs. That's the target he's going after, so I'm going to put my back to you just a little bit. Now we'll say that I'm looking in this direction, and that'll be 12 o'clock. Rick's coming from 3 o'clock. Now, as he comes with the uppercut punch, you're going to do a back knuckle, an outward, downward back knuckle strike to that arm. Watch again. But as you do it, this hand's going to check, and as this hand hits, it's going to cock up as you go to a left 45-degree cat stance. At this point, you're going to hammer back on the forearm, and as you do it, you're going to check with the other hand. Now, watch again. All right, he moves in, up, and at the same time, you're going to do a left thrusting sweep kick to the knee. And you're going to bust that arm, get it out of your way. Now, right from there, I'm going to hop kick and back knuckle and kick the inside of the other leg from this from this crane position. And as that hit, it goes through and hooks the eye on the way back and sweeps the leg. Unwind, stiff leg raise to the groin, bend him over. Now on a knee to the sternum, and a right hammer fist to the left kidney at the same time as I unwind. Then a left knee to the sternum again. Check here with your right hand, keeping him down. Cross out and the heel palm to the hinge of the jaw at this point. Okay, let's try it again. I'll walk it a little bit and you can see what I'm doing. Yes! Good, thank you, Rick. Beautiful. The next technique is called shield and mace. Now we're saying shield because we're going to shield with a right vertical outward block, and the mace is going to be a left thrust punch. Now this is a counter for a straight right punch. Now with the help of Tim starts in a left neutral bow. As he punches, we're going to do an outward block. We're going to step straight ahead into a left neutral bow. I want you to go towards 12 o'clock. You're going to do an outward block and a left vertical punch. Now he's going to run into this punch, so it's going to help you quite a bit. But this block is more than just blocking. It's more of a guide, and almost, in a sense, it's like a parry as Tim throws the punch. Now, we are going to block, but you notice how his arm is starting to slide off. Go ahead, punch. Off my arm. So this actually becomes borrowed force, in a sense. We're not just knocking the arm away. Watch me again. So that he's running into this. So you understand what I'm saying, that this is more of a guide than it is a block. All right, let's do it a little faster. Shoot. Good. Do it again. A little deeper for me. Come on in. All right. Now, this is going to hit and this is going to block. Now, right from there, I want you to hammer to the kidney. But as you do it, I want you to go and pivot into a left forward bow. This hand then changes places, and this one comes up and checks that arm as I go into the forward bow. Good. And the hammer hits the kidney. At that point there, I want you to drop to a closed kneel as you check his arm down using an open-end triangle. We've discussed it before. This checks the arm down, drop to a closed kneel, and rip the face. At that point, we're going to come down and chop the back of the knee as this hand trades places. And we're going to move that leg out, and we're going to injure it, but we're going to check so that I can get back into the other leg over here with a side kick, and then I'm going to cross out. Watch again. From the top, 1, 2, check and rip. Get the leg out of position, move in for the kick. Okay, now watch again. I want you to see it from this angle over here. Punch and the block work together. Watch again. One assists the other. He runs into the punch, hit, open end triangle. This check controls his width, but also controls his height, so that we're putting pressure on that leg. As I go from here, then the rip is set up at this point, and then we go down to the leg. Good. Thank you, Tim. The next technique is called 5 swords. Now, 5 swords, again, is another famous technique in Kempo. In fact, if you ask somebody what's their favorite technique, it's either lone kimono or 5 swords, probably 5 swords. Originally, this was designed to use all the hand swords in a technique. What I mean by that is, with the help of Clyde, this was designed against a roundhouse punch. A guy jumps out of his car, comes flying out after you, and widely throws himself open. Okay, Clyde, would you give me a back up a little bit? Okay, shoot your punch. Now, here's the punch we're dealing with. It's going to the side of our head. Now, we're going to step in at 11 o'clock. He's coming from 12, but we're going to go to 11, so we want to try to isolate that leg and cancel it and put a knee check in. At the same time, the first sword is going to hit the bicep. Okay, I don't want this just to be a block now, but I want it to be a weapon. I want you to damage that arm. The other hand is going to be an extended outward block or left outward check, and they're both going to hit together. Now, we could call this the first hand sword, the next one another hand sword. The other one's a heel palm, which is most commonly used. Now, we do that in a school so that we don't poke each other in the eye, but out in the street it goes hand sword, okay, a hand sword or a spear hand, but it's still part of the sword, okay? And then the third or fourth one would be to the solar plexus. As you pivot out of your forward bow into your neutral, you'd go to the solar plexus like this. Now, most students are not going to take the time to develop their fingers to hit somebody hard enough without breaking their fingers. Okay, now that's a whole nother art in itself. So we supplement the eye poke with a heel palm, the uppercut, or with a vertical hand sword with a right uppercut. Okay, then we move on, and I'll show you where we're going to go from there. But it gives you an idea where the name of the technique came from. All right, first move, the punch comes. All right, bam, we paralyze the arm, go to the side of the neck. That's the second hand sword. Also, you notice when I came in, I really went after that knee. Immediately, I dropped into the knee as I blocked, okay? So it's multi-dimensional striking, here and here and here. I use this as a strike. I don't just check, but as he swings, boom, I hit one, up. Then I go to the heel palm, up, bend him over now. Then I go to a right forward bow, and this is a short chop. And you notice I'm tracking down my arm here. As I hit the left side of his neck, I start to bring him around into position. As this right arm circles, it drops in and makes the final chop at this point. From here, bam, down the side of the back of the neck. Okay, watch from this angle. Punch comes, heel palm, up, uppercut, down. Then I drop in for the last shot. And you'll notice here the bottom hand checks. Now what I'm doing so I don't hurt Clyde is I'm hitting my own arm. It's called a point of contact. It's a good way to practice too. Or pick not the neck, pick the shoulder blade. Someplace you can make a little contact without hurting each other. Great. Thank you, Clyde. Good. The next technique is called twirling hammers. I'm going to use the help of Kevin. All right, now Kevin's going to start in a right neutral bow. I'm going to be slightly sideways to him. I don't want you in a full neutral bow, but from here as the punch comes, I want you to step off into a left twist stance, and you're going to move up the circle as you guys step off. Okay, let's do it again. You're going to use an extended outward block, and you're going to have this hand from point of origin as you step out, hit the back of the head here or on the mastoid. No sooner this hits, this hand's checking over here, that they start twirling and the elbow comes in at this point. And what happens is this twirls back and hammers the kidney. Now that brings the hand back, so we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to slip down, contour his arm, grab the hand, and you pull it this way against its own joint and use this as a fulcrum as we rip and dislocate the wrist and the elbow as we come back. All right, now from here, you're going to sweep him back again, controlling his height, width, and depth. And as you plant, you're going to sandwich the front of the head to a right vertical fist as you plant into a right front twist stance after that thrusting sweep kick. You're going to claw the face, start to screw him into the ground, step back to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock rather, and then the 5 contour and track down your own arm and poke him in the eye. Okay, let's try it again. We step off and block, up, hit, back, rip, sweep, bam, hit, back, and to the eye. Thank you, Kevin. And I want you to watch me do this by myself. I move up the circle, this hand is down, keep the check up, it rolls over, back, looping overhead back knuckle, inward elbow, check, this goes to a forward bow, and then back to a neutral. Grab the wrist, come back to a left neutral, thrusting sweep kick, plant into a twist stance, punch, step back to 4 o'clock, neutral bow, step back to a right neutral bow to 5 o'clock. Work on it, it's good technique.